So, dude, all these UAPs and UFOs, what the hell is happening?
You know what shits me?
Yeah.
No one is talking about it. Like, you would think that the whole world is like actually interested in this because it's like extraterrestrial life finally.
Right? Yeah, because they don't believe them. It's like way back in the days when the whole Roswell incident happened. Yeah. The government was saying, "Oh no, aliens don't exist. This was nothing." And we obviously didn't believe them then, but now they're coming out and saying, "No, actually, everything's true. They really are there," and we still don't believe them.
Humans are weird, man, because if there's like a certain allure about something, it's like they want to dig into it like as if something's being hidden.
Yeah.
But when it's literally in your face, like you're not believing it. Like,
Yeah, I know. Well, everything comes out like Project Bluebeam and all this other shit. Where people have started these conspiracy theories, and then now they're finally coming out and saying, "Oh, this shit's true." We don't believe them.
do you know the question is though, why are they coming out with it now? Because
That's
if they didn't want to come out with it, they really won't.
No, they didn't. Maybe they're being pressured by those other guys. Because I've heard a few people say this, right? And basically, what they're saying is that they had like a time, like an amount of time that they would have to release this to the public, right? Saying that the whole world needs to know about us, and then our government saying the majority of our population isn't ready for something like this. So they're like, yeah, okay, all good, but you need to set like an amount of time that you're going to slowly start releasing this stuff. So what do they do with our movies? They start showing us, the symbolism,
It's predictive programming.
predictive programming, right? And then just slowly over time getting us used to the idea of other species out there. They've got like Star Trek and, they've got Stargate, which are my favorite films, by the way. But, yeah, man, like just slowly releasing it, like slowly opening up the tap a bit more and a bit more until it all rushes out.
Well, if you have a look at the 90s, the 80s and the 90s, all the movies were about terrorism, right?
Yeah.
Now, all the movies now are
Alien invasion.
like alien invasions and apocalypse and, all this deconstruction of society.
Yeah, 100%. So it does blow me away a lot. It does blow me away a lot. And what about this guy? What was his name? David Grush. So this is the guy who's been coming out and he's in front of the Senate. He's telling them all, "I had higher security clearance than all of you," and they're baffled because they're like, "We thought we had the highest security clearance there was." And I remember them asking him this one question, and it was, "So who's in control of the clearance and stuff? Are they bodies of the government?" And then it was really quick, and he comes back, he goes, "Both in and out." Didn't even think about it. Both in and out. So they're either both. There are government bodies, and then there's privately owned bodies. So, for example, they're obviously using like private companies as well.
I reckon that there's a lot of people pulling the strings that have known about this for because I don't think aliens are a new thing. I don't think that there's something that's just come out now.
Yeah.
I think it's something I personally believe that they're ancient because if you have a look at mythology and stuff like that, it's all about foreign invaders or foreign gods. So the ancients knew it. I think the only difference since like World War II era is that we've developed a society that's very scientific.
Yeah.
So before, I reckon this stuff would have been manifested in sorcery and divination and stuff like that.
Yeah, they would have perceived them as gods.
Whereas now, it's UFOs and all that sort of thing, but integrated into science and tech, and you see that in the movies as well. So you see like Transformers, even the Fast and the Furious. It doesn't have aliens, but this whole concept of the God's eye. Right?
Yeah.
They find like, or Indiana Jones, right?
Yeah, the Crystal Skull.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you find like this magical whatever it is, rock, and it possesses knowledge or power or whatever. And obviously the
Like
movies have a twist on it.
Crystals,
Exactly.
yeah.
So crystals are not a new thing either. So back then, a guy might see a rock and say, you know what, I'm going to carve this rock because this rock has an association with the gods or whatever their superstition may be, and then he'll make an idol out of the rock and he'll worship the rock. But now the rock's got a little bit of life inside it.
Now, here's what gets me, right? Okay, so have you seen Stargate at all?
I haven't, but tell me.
Okay, so for those of you out there who have seen Stargate SG-1, there's this episode, right, where basically this guy has made a TV show and it's very, very extremely similar to what they're actually doing behind the scenes. And they're like, well, what the fuck is this? This is a security leak. Yeah. They're like, so what are we going to do? Are we going to shut this show down? And then the head general goes, no, actually, we're going to keep this show running. So if anything does happen and we have to come up with a excuse to see what happened, then we're going to pin it on that show instead of, you know what I mean? So, which made me think, are they doing this whole episode just to tell us that the Stargate itself is happening? Because with Stargate, right, Cheyenne Mountain, it's actually Area 52.
Okay.
Right?
Instead of Area 51.
Yeah, it's an actual place and it's Area 52. And inside the place, they've got this big Stargate and the big alien fucking bunch of other shit happens. Like, I don't want to dive too deep into it because you don't know anything about it. But another thing about it, so a bunch of the aliens that they fight are called the Goa'uld, right? And they're all based on the ancient Egyptian gods.